college football playoffs as predicted, as expected. It's going to change the way it seeds teams. This is but certainly the biggest complaint people had with the bracket in the first 12-team college football playoff is that they created a system where the 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds were not necessarily the best 4 teams in the country. They were just the 4 highest ranked conference champions. This is how Ohio State can't even be a top 4 seed in the bracket last year. And it just created weird matchups where the 1 seed had a tougher path to the championship game than much lower seeds. And so this was the obvious fix that needed to be addressed. They have now addressed it. This is the way they should do it. The top 4 seeds in the college football playoff bracket will be the teams that are considered the best by the playoff committee. 1, 2, 3, 4. It does not matter if you're actually a conference champion or not. Still, the 5 highest ranked conference champions will be in the bracket, and that leaves a path open theoretically for the University of Memphis. But you do not have to be a conference champion to be a top 4 seed anymore. And I've seen other people make this point. It's another indication of Notre Dame's just never going to join a conference and play football.
Right.
This was, on some level, thought to be maybe something that could push them toward a conference because, by definition, the way the system was initially put in place, Notre Dame could never, you ready? Quite literally never be a top 4 seed in the bracket. Notre Dame could be undefeated, beat everybody by 75 points, so clearly the best team in the country. And in the former system, the initial system, could not be a top 4 seed because they could not be a conference champion because they're not in a conference. Well, now that doesn't matter anymore. If Notre Dame's the best team in the country, Notre Dame will be the 1 seed in the bracket. So if that was ever going to be a reason to push Notre Dame toward the Big Ten or the SEC or the ACC or the Big 12 or anything else, well, now it's off the table. You can't even use it anymore as an incentive to get into a league. So Notre Dame will stay independent. The 4 highest seeded teams in the bracket will be the teams that are considered the 4 best. And they might also be messing around with the scheduling a little bit while the SEC and Big 12 and Big 10 are having conference championship games. We could have some automatic qualifiers playing that weekend as well.
And it looks like they might move Army-Navy at some point,
right?
Which would be interesting.
They'll have to talk to CBS about that.
Right. Now that'd be a big shift.
I mean,
they've got that weekend to themselves.
That's way above my pay grade.
Yeah.
But I know that is important.
That game.
Yes. Yeah. That is something they care deeply about. Like going to, West Point or, going to Annapolis, having that game be on that stage with not a whole lot of football competition is something that is really prioritized.
So you'd make it earlier, right? But that's what they're
above my pay grade. I just know that every time people start talking about moving the NCAA tournament back, there's this long-standing theory that college basketball should be a 1-semester sport, that we shouldn't start it in November, we should start it in January, which I actually agree with, because I think every week you're not counter-programming football is a good week for you. Like, do you know when I go from getting however many requests to do radio a week to like 5 times just as soon as football's over? Just as soon as football's over.
Right.
Let the Super Bowl get in the rearview mirror. 2 days after the Super Bowl, 50 people want you to come on radio to talk about college basketball.
Yeah, right.
2 days before the Super Bowl, nobody wants you. But as soon as football's in the rearview mirror, basketball becomes the focus. So every week you move the calendar back, it's an extra week of non-football that you get. I'm a big believer in this. The problem, or at least one of the problems, becomes CBS really loves the Final Four leading into the Masters.
Oh, yeah.
So you start messing. They love the NCAA tournament. Not necessarily March, because people get caught up on that. It's March Madness. Well, we could just call it May Madness. That's not a big deal. We can just call it May Madness. It used to be Mr. October. Now Mr. October gets you in like the ALCS.
Yeah.
It's not really the World Series anymore. Not completely. So we can adjust our little slogans. That's not the big problem. The problem becomes if a billion-dollar network says we like the tournament in this week and this week and this week, and then we like going straight to Augusta, you can't mess with that. Well, then you're not messing with that.
Right.
And I bet you the Army-Navy thing is, it's at least a big topic of conversation. I don't want to make any predictions about it, but it is a big topic of conversation.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.